And good Monday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Welcome to another Monday. If you're thinking it's cool outside, you're right. 42 right now as you wake up. That's a nip in the air, isn't it? We'll get to 75, but one thing we have to watch again is the gusts today. 20 miles an hour. It was 25. They've changed that to 20 today. And with that being said, they've asked everybody not to burn due to the fire risk, the wildfire conditions. And that pretty much covers Lauderdale, Clark, Newton, portions of Jasper County as well, all these areas in northward. So don't burn today. If you've got a pile of boxes lined up to go on the old fire, hold off a little while, at least through today. Now, also, we'll tell you about severe weather. It's back in the forecast again for this week. We'll look good through the week. Toward the end of the week, we'll start having some issues with the weather once again, and I'm afraid it could be late into the evening until after dark on Friday. As always, news kind of slow to get this pinpointed because we're so many days out. But it looks to be moving into those nighttime hours on Friday night. We'll have more on that as the week progresses, and we'll update you here in a moment of what we know. A lot happened this weekend. I hope you'll join us at 7 so we can give you all the details, the play-by-play of what has gone on. It was a wild one, that's for sure. Right now, let's check in with Brother Ben, and he wants to talk about the measure. Pretty interesting. I hope you'll watch this morning.
You know, Jesus loved to teach in parables. Now, a parable is an earthly story illustrating a heavenly truth. It's a powerful teaching tool that Jesus was a master of. Well, one of the most powerful parables Jesus told is the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. There was a rich man who was going away on a long journey, so he put some of his wealth in charge of 3 servants for them to invest while he was away. To one he gave 5 talents, to the second he gave 2 talents, and to the third he gave 1 talent, each according to their ability. Now, when we hear the word talent, we think of skills or abilities, but you have to understand that in Jesus' day, a talent was a measure of money. It was roughly equal to about $500,000. So a talent was a bunch of money. The first servant then was given $2.5 million, to the second $1 million, and to the third $500,000. And when the master returned and asked for the results, the first servant had doubled his money to $10 million. The second had also doubled his money to $2 million. But the third simply gave the master back the same amount he'd been given, 1 talent or $500,000, and had nothing else to show for it. Well, the master was furious because the servant had wasted the opportunity by doing absolutely nothing with what he'd been given. And so the worthless servant was cast out into the outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Well, what's the moral of that parable? Well, beloved, we have not all been gifted in the same way by God. You see, some have been given more and some have been given less. And so we will not all see the same amount of impact and output in this world. But regardless of our amount of gifting, we're all the same in that God expects us to invest those gifts we've been given to the best of our ability. Do the most with what God's given you. You'll not be compared to the more or less gifted neighbor. No, you'll be measured by your gifting and your ability. So make the most impact you can make. And then you'll enter into the joy of your master when he returns. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. You know, and he's right. We each have our talent. We should stay in our lanes from time to time and know what we're good at. What was it Clint Eastwood said? Man's got to know his limitations. And that's true. Do what you're good at, what you feel good about. And I'm going to have to blame Brother Ben. Not stuck in my head. I don't know if you noticed the background on Brother Ben there, the big clock. Now all I've got stuck in my head is that album cover to Dwight Yoakam. Y'all remember that This Time? Now I've got that song stuck in my head. This time won't be the last time. Anyway, small thoughts from Scotty Ray this morning. Again, right now, chilly and 42 as we begin our day. Things that make me scratch my head. Let's go to Chicago first to some headlines that are happening across America this morning. Apparently, over the weekend, a group of teens took over a portion of town. In Chicago, they torched cars. The mayor-elect, as he makes statements, and this is where we've got problems. And it bothers me that we elect officials that, well, apparently can't see right from wrong. He admits, well, they shouldn't have done it, but tells us not to blame them. This is his actual statement. And again, this is the mayor, Brandon Johnson is his name, that is the mayor-elect for Chicago. He says, in no way do I condone the destructive activity we saw in the Loop and Lakefront this weekend. It is unacceptable and has no place in our city. However, it is no constructive to demonize youth who have otherwise been starved of opportunities in their own communities. Our city must work together to create spaces for youth to gather safely and responsible under adult guidance and supervision to ensure that every part of our city remains welcome for both sides of residents and visitors. This is one aspect of my comprehensive approach to improve public safety and make Chicago livable for everyone. Safe places for people that burn cars is not the way you do this. That's breaking the law, and if you break the law, you should be punished. I truly don't understand. If I'm misinterpreting this, please give me some advice. You cannot condone. That is condoning no matter what you say. That's what makes me scratch my head. We did see yesterday afternoon, I'm sure you've heard by now, Biloxi, Mississippi making national news as we saw the video of the police officer with the blood running down his arm after he'd been shot. 4 others also were injured during that. Wild weekend in Biloxi, to say the least. And more and more and more as we go back and touch a little bit on the Chicago thing. I keep seeing San Francisco pop up. More and more businesses bail from the cities because, well, they're giving these people these free spaces to express themselves. Yeah, by burning cars, tearing up businesses, it's falling apart. When will it stop? I'm not sure. Here's what's even more concerning about that to me. You have people fleeing these cities because, well, they don't like the way it's being run, and they move to Texas, they move to Florida. Some have come to Mississippi, but a lot don't get it when they get to where they move that, well, they need to change the way they think or it will turn out the same there. Will this influence the way states vote with those fleeing from areas that are horrible? Something to think on. Thought I'd put that in your mind this morning. Let's see what else. There's a couple more stories that are out there. This should scare you. Should really shake you up as we learn more and more. And Elon Musk, now there's a lot that don't like him. He's the guy that owns Tesla. He's also the guy that come up with $44 billion, was that it? To buy Twitter. He made the announcement this weekend that the government, now get this now, and the government had full access to all of your inboxes and everything on Twitter. No subpoenas. They had full access to everything on your account through Twitter the way it was being run. Isn't that a breach? Interesting there. Nina, good point there. John Travolta is on the coast filming a movie. Pretty cool. If you bump into John, shoot us a picture. We'd love to see that. Sheila says they need to express themselves in jail. I agree with that 100%. Also, someone was shot in Ocean Springs last night, Vicky says. Lord have mercy. Connie Johns, good morning. Glad to see you there. Somebody, Jerome, how are you today? Nelson Granados, good morning. Hadn't talked to you in a long time, Nelson. Hope everything's good in your world. Keith McCary, good morning there. Hope you're doing well. I think the sound is working for everybody else. Keith said he had an issue with the sound. We start our day. We're going to get into the forecast next. Don't run off. We'll find out what's going on.
Hello, my name's Kenneth Graham, and I'm running for coroner of Lauderdale County. For over 50 years, Lauderdale County's been represented by professional and competent coroners. I would like to continue that tradition. Over the next several months, I want to educate the public on what the coroner does and dispel any myths about the coroner job. I can show you that I will be the most professional coroner there is. So please vote for me August the 8th.
Paid for by the Committee for the Election of Kenneth Graham. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as your built-in. are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. Teresa brought up Dadeville, Alabama. We'll talk about that this morning also. Horrible what went on there. Let's get into your forecast.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we look at our record highs, our record lows, it was 1955 that we had a warm day today. It was 90 back then. The record low was set in 51. A year later, it would be 32. It pretty much follows the pattern of the way things are now, doesn't it? As we look at what's happening today, 73 in the Meridian area. As you go northward, it's going to stay the same all the way to Columbus Air Force Base. Basically, 73 until you cross down to Natchez into Louisiana. Not a bad day. As we go east of here and we look at Alabama, a little warmer. 1 degree, 74 in Demopolis. Birmingham, 72. Tuscaloosa should see 74 with Nick Saban in the bunch. As we look at this, now be cautious of burning. Yeah, I see that I left out an S. We'll see if we can't fix that at some point. But this afternoon, don't burn, whatever you do. I know we don't have any burn bans, but 20-mile-an-hour gusts spreads fire like you've never seen before. We don't need any of that to happen. As we look to Friday, this is the outlook on this. Now, Philadelphia, y'all heads up on this, and northwestern Kemper and northwestern side of Noxubee County, all of Winston are under a level 2 at this point. And also the city of Newton, you're in that level 2 also. Everything east of there is a level 1 at this point. But I warn you, today is Monday. This is coming on Friday. This could become a lot bigger system. You never know with Mother Nature. But we do know that bad weather is set to happen late Friday afternoon, probably into the nighttime hours. Days away, but a storm to watch as it brews. Could be a wet weekend ahead of us as you plan these outdoor activities for the weekend. As we look at the temperatures, cooler. That's what's coming toward the state of Mississippi. And as they've said, there'll be some warmer weather this week. And as we get into the weekend, some of this could be cool by the end of the week and these storms arriving. As we look at our outlook here, as you'll see the change there, 75 today, 80 tomorrow, 82 Wednesday, 86 Thursday, 83 on Friday. And as that storm hits, you'll see that temperatures go down at least 10 degrees, as we'll see 74 on Saturday, 72 on Sunday. 3-Foot Festival rolls in on Saturday, down to a 20% chance. Let's hope all of this is out of there by Saturday morning for all these events that are going to be happening on Saturday morning. Let's go another week into the month, all the way to May 1st. That sounds scary, doesn't it? 67 on the 24th, and we'll get warming back up to 77, 76, and pretty much stay in the 70s there all the way through May the 1st with a high of 79 that day. Summertime is coming, if y'all haven't noticed. As we get into the fishing forecast today, again, those gusts, that'll get you some backlash if you're not careful. The best time to fish today will be around 11 o'clock today, 11 to 1. Great midday before the wind gets too bad. The next major time will be, well, it's right there at midnight. So your best chance to catch your fish today is going to be at lunchtime. Hope you can make it out and enjoy yourself. A lot of people fish here. As we get this day going, thank y'all for joining. We've got Odie standing by. We're coming back in roughly about 14 minutes from now, and we'll start the morning show with all the headlines and going-ons from around the state of Mississippi and here locally, too. We'll get it all on. Won't you join us? Just a few minutes from now, come back. Again, we'll be here beginning live at 7 o'clock. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all kinds of places. Oh, yeah, even on television. You can find us here at Fox 30 beginning at 7. It all happens. Won't you be a part? We'll see you then.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: